Hi guys, I think we're live. So today I'm jumping in to share with you all about landing page conversion rates, because I know that this is something that comes up a lot. When we're doing our own marketing, that's really important that we work on improving our conversion rates so that all of our hard work actually pays off. Okay, so today I am just going to walk you through what changes you can make to a landing page that's going to increase your conversion rate, and also I'm going to show you an example of my own. Okay, so as we go through, I'm going to try and keep an eye on my phone to see if there's any questions, but otherwise I'll catch up with them afterwards. Let me know if you're here though. I'd love to see if you're jumping on live, and if you're watching the replay, let me know as well. Just write a comment that you're watching the replay. Okay, so first of all, this is about landing pages for a freebie. Okay, so that could be something like a lead magnet, like something for free that you're giving to your audience, or potentially cold traffic that is going to bring people onto your email list. So they're signing up for something. So it could be a lead magnet, it could be a free challenge, it could be a quiz. Quizzes are amazing for lead generation. It could be a case study if you're a service provider, or often in the more corporate space, it might be like a case study or a success story or something like that. It could be an ebook, it could be a cheat sheet of some kind, it could be like a check sheet, like anything that your followers will download and as a result sign up to your email list. So a landing page has a form, okay, and that's attached to your email service provider, whatever that may be. So why do we want to give away things for free? Basically because it builds up trust with our audience. So you're showcasing your knowledge and skills in a particular area, which is pretty much vital, because we all know that we need to increase how much people trust us, that know, like, and trust factor that you hear about so much. It's really, really important, because in the online space, it's very difficult for, if there's no trust there, people just aren't going to buy from you, and we all want thriving businesses, right? So you want to be building your email list because you own it as well. So it's an asset that you own. So it's a great way to get people off of social media. So that's the place where you attract people, but how do you get them onto the next step? So you're bringing them off social media onto your email list, which is actually owned by you and your business. Therefore, it is it's a business asset, whereas you don't own Facebook. If Facebook was to shut down tomorrow, you would lose all of your followers. Same with Instagram and any social media platform, right? So they're not owned by you, whereas your email list and your website are owned by you. So they're the kind of assets that we should really be focusing on building up as much as possible. The bigger your email list, therefore the bigger your audience, and then in the future when you launch something or have something new, then you've got like that pool of people who are already they already know what you offer, they already trust you, so the chances of them becoming customers is a lot higher than, say, cold traffic, like off Facebook, for example. Okay, so some landing page basics. Okay, so through the work that I do, see a lot of landing pages that people have put together, and the most common mistake that I see is that a landing page is set up with, like, on a normal website page, so it's still got the navigation menu at the top of the screen. Now this is like the biggest no-no when it comes to landing pages, right? So a landing page is ultimately going after one action, okay? So you want one thing to happen on that page, and that's them to sign up to whatever it is you're offering on that page. It's not to tell them about this and that or the next thing that they might have, that you might have, that you think they might be interested in. It's not a place to show them everything, okay? It is simply a vehicle to get them to do the one thing But what happens is that when we have that website navigation at the top, even if we don't have anything else apart from the one thing, like say it's a free challenge, which is the example I'm going to show you. Say if we have that one thing on the actual page, but then we have the navigation menu at the top, what happens is this distracts people. Okay, they just go off and they go onto another page of your website and probably never to return to the landing page. So you are definitely that's going to hurt your conversion rate. Okay, so just to touch on what a conversion rate actually is, it is the number of conversions that you get, which is the sign up in this case, divided by the total number of visitors that have hit that page, and then you times it by 100 to get the percentage. Okay, so if 1,000 people were to visit your page and 300 became leads or got added to your email list because they downloaded the thing or signed up, whatever it is, then your conversion rate is 30%. Okay, so a good conversion rate is considered around about 30 to 50%, but if it's at this level, I feel like there's definitely potential to increase it. But if you're sitting like 10% or even below 20, then you definitely need to do some work. So if you've got a landing page or a freebie already up and running, then I definitely urge you to go and look at the number of people that have visited the site and visited the page and how many people have actually signed up, and work out your conversion rate, and do that today. Okay, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how you can improve that conversion rate. So a good landing page, as I said, has no navigation at the top. So sometimes it may be that you need a tool to create landing pages without the menu at the top. It could be that you need to talk to your web developer to get them to remove it for that particular page. I use a third-party tool called ClickFunnels, which I find, like, I have tried a lot of landing page builders, and I just find the landing page builder is really intuitive and really easy. Because I'm no web designer, okay? So I use ClickFunnels personally, but you can use whatever you want. There's Lead Pages and a whole bunch of other ones these days. But it has a form that integrates with your email service provider. And it's also important that not only do you not have the website navigation up the top, but you also don't like add sections within the page that are about other things. Like maybe you think, oh, they want to know about me, so I'll put an about section, I'll link them off to the about page. Like that's a no-no as well, because again, you're taking them away from the page and they're likely to never actually return. So it's important that if you do want to put a little bit about you, that you actually include it in the page rather than, and make it applicable or like relevant to the offer. Okay, so just your general about information from that's on your about page on your website may not be specific enough for this case, but make it a section on the actual page and don't link off anywhere. Okay, so that's another thing that I see quite often. Also, bear in mind that a conversion rate will typically differ between cold and warm traffic. Okay, so if you are sending like your email list, your Facebook followers, maybe you've got a Facebook group, that kind of thing, if you're sending them to a freebie, they're like more likely to convert because they already know you, they already trust you, they already like you. So therefore, like if you're giving value, they know that this is going to be a good piece of information or something fun to do, like if it's a quiz, that is going to be valuable to them. So you're likely to have a higher conversion rate from that group of people than if, say, you were going out to a completely cold audience. Like, for example, maybe you're using Facebook ads, for example, and you're doing a lead generation style of ad where you're getting people to sign up for something and you're targeting like a broad audience or a lookalike audience or something like that, where these people have never heard of you before. It's very likely that you are going to have a lower conversion rate for those people because they don't have that know, like, and trust factor yet. However, there are things that we can do to improve that. These people have never heard of you before. It's cool. So just checking that we're going on the Facebook page, which we are. which is awesome. So I'm now going to show you an example. So just bear with me while I share my screen, and I'm going to walk through the changes that I made to this particular landing page. So this one was it's actually for my SEO challenge, which I know a lot of you guys in here have already done. And that's how a lot of you came to be in this group, okay? So just bear with me for a wee minute while I share my screen. And I'll just have to double check that it's going before we get started. But if you're watching, just let me know if you can see this up on my screen. That would be great. It's going. Watching, just let me know if you. Cool. So I can see it on my phone, so it's up and running. So this is the original landing page. This is my first effort, okay? As you can see, I've called it my old landing page. So when I first set up the SEO challenge, it was very much like imperfect. I didn't know whether it was something people were interested in or not. So I whipped this page up because I just needed to get it out there and get it running, which is often the case when we're starting out with a new offer, because we don't know if it's going to be popular or not. And sometimes you've just got to have like an MVP version, like the minimum to get up and running. So this one, it literally was quite a short page, very short in fact, and it just had my logo at the top and then a little bit of copy about what it was, which was finally get your website SEO sorted with the free SEO your website in 5 days challenge. And then it had a form that integrated with my email service provider, and the fields on this one were actually on the page. So you just come along and write your name and email address directly in here, and then join the challenge. Okay, and then we had a little bit of a blurb at the bottom. So very simple. As I said, I just kind of banged this up to get up and running with the challenge. Okay, so it's quite attractive. Like, it's not like super ugly or anything like that, and it actually converted really well. So in the background, I just have a picture of some like a stock image of someone on their computer. But there was nothing about this page about me, and obviously I'm running the challenge, and I think it's important to, if you're running something like a challenge where there's obviously a few days that you're going to spend together going through the challenge, and you want these people to get to know you as the person that's putting on this education kind of thing. So it had nothing about me. And I just felt like, I actually used this for the first few challenges and it converted really well. So the conversion rate kind of sat around 50% most of the time, which is a really good conversion rate, right? But then I got to the point where I started to think, okay, well, most of my people on my email list are already in my community, have already done the challenge at this point. So I kind of had to go further afield and therefore start looking at colder traffic, okay? And I just wasn't really convinced that for colder traffic that this page was really going to cut it, because it didn't really say anything about me. It didn't really say anything about the challenge. It was just like, this is what you get, sign up here and get going, okay? So while this was a very good first attempt, I felt like there could be definitely improvements. So what I decided to do is, as I said, I use ClickFunnels, and there's a split testing function in ClickFunnels, which I feel like is one of the biggest reasons to use ClickFunnels over some other landing page ones, because it's a really cool feature where you literally set up two landing pages side by side, and what they'll do is they'll send traffic evenly to both of them, and then you can monitor the stats and see which one converts higher. And once you have a winner, you can actually stop like the other one. Like, you call the winner, you basically just press a button that it's won, and then that one takes over. And it's an amazing feature. So I use that for this particular test between the two, split test, okay? So that was my first effort. You'll notice that I had no website navigation, okay? So there was no like about page, contact me and stuff at the top of this page, okay? Because as I said, it's all about making sure that your landing page is totally around them getting to do that one action, nothing else, okay? So that's the original page. And now I will show you the new page. So let's just wait a wee second and see if that one comes up on the screen. So this is what I split tested it with, right? Here we go. Okay, cool. There's a wee bit of a delay between the software that I use for these lives and the what you guys see. So this is the kind of improved version. And I actually got a conversion rate up to 80% for this, which is crazy. It's really, really high. Okay, so that means that 80% of people hit the page, sign up, which is awesome. Okay, so these are the things that I did. Okay, step by step, I'm going to walk you through what I felt was missing from the first page and what I added to the second page. So I included a picture of myself. As I mentioned before, I feel like if you are running something and it's like an educational type thing, then it's important to create a personal connection and actually show people who they're going to be dealing with. Okay, especially for a challenge, because it's not just like an ebook, like download. I still think it's important to talk about who you are, but it's, you know, with a challenge, you're going to be together for a few days and they need to trust you. Okay. I also added, you would have noticed on the first page, so it was a static page, it didn't go up or down or anything, and it had one button. Okay, but on this landing page, I've actually got 3 buttons. Okay, so there's one at the top there, right above the fold, so it's important that they can sign up as soon as they hit the page. Above the fold means that they don't have to scroll down at all to see important information. So any information that is important needs to go above the fold, and in this case, that's a button because you want them to be able to take action. So, and then I have another button, and then I have a button again right at the bottom because that's your last chance to get them to sign up, right? So I have 3 buttons instead of 1. I added more context around why it's important. So I kind of painted the picture in this paragraph here of why you need SEO, why it's important, and what it will do for your business. So I didn't have any of this stuff on the first landing page. I also added an about section. So as I was talking about before, this isn't just pulled from your about page, and definitely do not link off to your about page. This is a little bit about me. It includes my picture again, and it talks about my specific experience with SEO and why, it talks a little bit about my journey with SEO. It doesn't talk about all the other marketing stuff that I do because I do a lot more than SEO, but I didn't go into that here because it's not relevant. Okay, so I just talked about my journey with SEO, and then a little bit of social proof down here. I've added that over 1,000 people have done this challenge, because that's kind of like showing people that this is valuable, it's trusted, it's going to get results, and it's going to be well worth your time. Okay, another thing that I did is I added testimonials. So when people go through the challenge and they leave me messages that they've loved it, I will screenshot them and have used some of them here as a way to show people that, again, it's valuable. Social proof or testimonials are the thing that are most likely to get people across the line if they're umming and ahhing about something, if they're not entirely sure. If other people have said it's good, then they're more likely to trust that than a business owner saying, do my thing, it's amazing, okay? It adds so much value to the whole kind of proposition. Okay, so, and the funny thing is that when I did this page, I had someone helping me at the time set it up, and they said, I think those screenshots are quite ugly. And that's kind of another point in and of itself, is that pretty does not equal conversion. Okay, so I actually thought about that for a minute, and I thought, yeah, it may not be the most attractive way to present a testimonial, but it also is real. Okay, it's real. It's we're all on Facebook. Okay, so we like know that this has been pulled from Facebook, which shows that it's kind of a real life example. And then so I've added 3 of those. I have so many testimonials from this particular challenge that I could put like 100 here. And potentially I could add more. Sometimes you see landing pages that are just absolutely littered with testimonials, and that's not a bad thing. And then I have a written one that is a little bit longer down here. And the reason I added that is because I thought that it was a really good example to use, because this particular woman said that she did the challenge, which is entirely free, and then realized that she was beating some of the big competitors. And she's in the pet food industry, so you can imagine there's some really big corporate companies selling pet food, and there she was on the first page of Google actually beating them. So I know that that's kind of a pain point for a lot of people, is that they think, well, my industry is so competitive, how am I ever going to be able to compete? So I may as well not even do anything. So I wanted to use this testimonial to show that actually it is possible to beat the big wigs if you know how. Okay, so I thought that was really well worth putting on there. And then I go down to a section that is what actually is included in the challenge. So if you remember back to the first landing page that I showed you, you will know that it didn't include any of this information. Okay, so it just like summarizes what you actually get as part of the challenge. So it's things like daily emails for 5 days with clear instructions on what to do for the challenge. You also get access to a supportive Facebook community, which you guys are in now. And also that it's only actionable advice. It's not a bunch of fluff or theory. Okay, and also I've added my all rights reserved down the bottom and my privacy policy. So just a note, if you are using Facebook ads, you need a privacy policy. Otherwise, Facebook is likely to limit the reach of your ad or potentially disapprove it. Okay, you need a privacy policy attached to your landing pages. So what else did I do? So you may remember back to the first example. I'll just show you there quickly. So the actual form is like on the page and you fill it in right actually on the page. Whereas with this one, you press the join the challenge and a pop-up comes up. In my experience, pop-ups are way more effective than actually having the form fields on the page itself. I have trialed this. There's quite a lot of, I know a lot of other people in the online marketing space have as well. And the general consensus is that a pop-up works a lot better than the form fields actually embedded on the page. But this is something that you can trial. It may also be that if you're using a simple like free setup for a landing page that you can't do the pop-up, and that's okay. Just work with what you've got. However, if you want to really work on improving your conversion rate, I challenge you to try both and split test them and see what converts better. Okay, so always be testing basically. So literally just fill it in, super easy. Both of these are required, and I set that up on the side of my where the form is handled, which in this case is the email service provider, and then they just join the challenge and then they're straight in. Okay, and they go to a thank you page that invites them into the Facebook group. The other thing is that I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I've got that pop-up set as an exit pop-up. So when someone goes to leave the page, the pop-up will actually pop up. So it's hard to know exactly what impact that has, but all I know is that this page is a seriously high converting landing page. So it's all of these things combined. I also used to have my logo at the top of this page, but I recently removed it because if some of you caught my live the other day, I'm actually changing my brand. So I thought I would just remove the logo for now. So it'll be interesting to see if that has any impact on the conversion rate as well. So all of these changes, like as you can see, there are quite a few of them, and they're not that hard to make, right? Like this, some of them are like super simple tweaks. It resulted in my landing page conversion rate going from 50%, which is still pretty good, up to 80% for a warm audience. Okay, so that means that 80% of the people that hit this page sign up, which is awesome. Okay, because you know what, I don't want to spend all of my time creating all of these things and then people hit it and they just bounce. Like that's not a good use of my time at all. Okay, so there's no doubt that making similar little changes to your landing pages can have a big result. Another thing that you can play around with, I've got a few things here that I didn't do, but another thing that you can do is if you don't have your logo already, add it and see if it makes a difference. You could add a video of you actually talking about what the offer is so that people can see your face and see you talking and see how you behave and act. And there's a lot of science around how people react differently to the spoken word instead of the written word, okay? And we're actually going to be talking about that next week with a sales coach that's coming in, so stay tuned for that. Other things that you can do is add like media logos. So if you've been featured on like a prominent media outlet, then add that because it's all trust building. It's all showing people that you know what you're talking about, building trust, okay? So there's a lot of trust building factors that we have in there. Another thing, if you're thinking, but Louise, I don't have any relevant social proof or testimonials related to this particular thing, then you can use, maybe have some social proof or testimonials for your business as a whole. So I would suggest start off with them if you don't have any that are specific to the actual download, whatever it is that you're offering. Okay, so the other thing that really I can't not talk about in this case is that a lot of it comes down to the offer. So if your freebie is something that is not attractive to people, people don't really need it, then the conversion rate is, you're kind of going to battle a little bit more. Whereas if it's something that people need, want, and is helping them solve a problem in their business, then, or in their life, whatever you're offering, like it could be health related or, you know, related to their personal life. It doesn't have to be a business thing, of course. So what does it solve a problem for them will determine how successful it is as well. So I think it's important to understand that going into an online marketing, online business, and that if you're wanting to build up your email list through freebies, that it's important to be willing to have some failures, because I have had lots of downloads that haven't really connected. I know that in my previous role before, you know, going out on my own when I worked for the software company, we had so many downloads and a lot of them were flops, and then we'd just get one that would fly, okay? So it's important to, if you haven't found one that quite connects yet, then maybe you can rework the actual content of it, the way you're selling it, the way you're positioning it so that it actually solves a problem. But my point is you really need to be paying attention to the offer as well as this stuff, okay? And the SEO challenge for me has been an offer that people really want. It's that's kind of why I went with the very simple landing page right at the start, just to get rolling to see if there was a need for it, and there was, okay? So I got that really good conversion rate straight out of the bat. So it's important to sometimes just like get something running and then improve it over time. And it's really important that you test the different elements. Another thing that you can do is play with the colors of a button. It's lots of science around that. I have actually gone in this case with the brightest color in my kind of color palette for my brand. So it's on brand. I've heard a lot of people say that blue and green convert really well. So you might see a lot of green call to action buttons around the web. So there's a lot of science around that stuff as well. But I prefer myself to stick to my brand colors where possible. And if you're paying for ads or you're looking at going into advertising your offer this year, then I definitely recommend that you test it before you go into ads. And conversion rates are vital to pay attention to when you're paying for ads, okay? So when you're doing Facebook ads or something, it's very easy to say, okay, well, the Facebook ads aren't working. But then when you go and look at the stats in Facebook, quite often what happens is it's like, well, you're meeting kind of all the industry standards on what a good metric is for like click-through rate and cost per click and that kind of thing. But then they are hitting the page and then bouncing. So that's actually not a Facebook ads issue. It's a landing page issue, and it's all related to your conversion rate. So again, if you're paying for traffic, say if you're paying $1 a click to your landing page, you want to get as many of those people signing up to your free thing as possible. Otherwise, you know, you're potentially going to get a far less return. So if you're sending traffic to a landing page that only has a 10% conversion rate, then I really urge you to work on that conversion rate and get it higher so that you're making use of the money that you're actually spending to get people to that page in the first place.